There is a boundary wrapped around your entire existence, and no spacecraft will ever cross it. Not because our engines are too weak, not because we have not looked hard enough, but because reality itself withholds the rest of the cosmos from us. At this very moment, beyond the deepest darkness our telescopes can touch, there are regions of the universe whose light will never arrive. Entire histories, entire galaxies, possibly entire civilizations of stars, forever unreachable, forever unseen. And the most unsettling part is this: the invisible universe is not hidden because it is far away. It is hidden because time, light, and space have conspired to make ignorance permanent. We like to imagine the universe as something waiting to be explored, a giant map with blank spaces that one day will be filled in. But the real universe is less generous than that. It is not a book we simply have not finished reading. It is a book with pages torn out by the structure of space-time itself. To understand why, it helps to begin somewhere painfully familiar. Imagine standing alone on an empty shoreline at night. You point a flashlight across the sea. The beam travels outward, but beyond a certain distance, the horizon swallows everything. The ocean does not end there. Your sight does. The universe is like that, except the horizon is not made of water. It is made of time. Every time you look into space, you are not seeing things as they are. You are seeing them as they were. Light does not appear instantly. It travels. Moonlight is already old when it reaches your face. Sunlight is older still. The light from distant stars began its journey before your grandparents were born. The light from remote galaxies left when Earth itself looked different. Space is not just distance. It is delay. It is memory. That means astronomy has always been a strange kind of archaeology. We do not observe the universe in the present tense. We excavate it in layers. Nearby stars show us a more recent cosmos. Farther galaxies reveal deeper antiquity. The deeper we stare, the further back in time we fall. And at first this sounds beautiful, almost merciful. The universe lets us look into its past. It lets us witness ancient light crossing impossible gulfs just to arrive in our eyes. But then the darker realization appears. If light needs time to travel, then there must be a limit to what time has allowed us to see.
The universe is about 13.8 billion years old. That number alone is hard to feel. It is longer than language, longer than memory, longer than every empire, every animal, every mountain on Earth. Yet even that immense age is not enough to reveal everything, because the cosmos did not sit still while light was moving. Space itself expanded. The stage stretched while the signal was still in transit. So when we speak of the visible universe, we are already speaking about a compromise, not the whole universe, not even necessarily a large fraction of it, just the region from which light has had enough time to reach us since the beginning of cosmic history. It is less like seeing all that exists and more like hearing only the sounds that have had time to cross a storm. And even that story gets worse. Because if you rewind all the way back to the young universe, there's another wall waiting there, a hotter wall, a brighter one. Oh, in the beginning, the cosmos was not filled with stars and galaxies. It was a furnace. Matter and light were trapped in a dense glowing plasma. Photons could not travel freely. The universe was opaque, like being sealed inside a star. No one could have looked through it, because there was nothing to look through. Light scattered again and again, unable to escape. Then, about 370,000 years after the beginning, something changed. The universe cooled enough for atoms to form. Suddenly, light could move freely. And that ancient radiation is still here. It still surrounds us. We call it the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can observe. In a sense, it is the infant portrait of the universe. But that portrait is also a limit. It means there is a point beyond which ordinary light cannot show us anything. Not because nothing existed before, but because the universe was once too dense to be transparent. Behind that glowing veil lies an earlier reality we cannot directly see with light at all. So now the problem has sharpened into something more haunting. We cannot see the whole universe, not only because it is too vast, but because history itself contains locked doors. Some because light has not had enough time. Some because the early universe would not let light pass. And some because expansion is carrying parts of reality away faster than their signals can ever catch us. That last part is where the universe becomes emotionally difficult. When people hear that something recedes faster than light, it sounds like a violation. Like physics has broken, but it is not objects racing through space in the normal sense. It is space itself stretching. Galaxies can be carried away by the growth of the cosmic fabric between us. The result is mercilessly simple. There are places from which light was once on its way, and yet the expansion of the universe means that light will never arrive. Not tomorrow. Not in 1 trillion years. Never. So the visible universe is not only incomplete, it is shrinking in another sense. More and more distant regions are slipping beyond the possibility of contact. The cosmic horizon is not a line we are approaching. It is a line that, for some things, has already closed. Imagine receiving letters from a distant city. At first, they arrive slowly, then more slowly. Then one day they stop forever. Not because the city was destroyed, not because the sender died, but because the road itself kept lengthening until no messenger could finish the journey. That is happening on the largest scale imaginable. The universe is still there, beyond our reach, but the conversation is ending, and we are born absurdly late in this process. There was a time when the night sky would have offered more clues. In the far future, observers in our cosmic neighborhood may see much less than we do. Distant galaxies will fade from view. The evidence of expansion will become harder to reconstruct. The universe will reveal less of its story to those who arrive after us, which means our species lives in a rare and fragile window, when the cosmos is still legible enough to study, but already mysterious enough to humble us. That realization changes the mood of science. We often think of knowledge as something that expands forever, but cosmic knowledge may have a horizon of its own. There may be truths about the total universe that no intelligence, however advanced, can ever confirm from inside it. Not because they are beyond reason, but because they are beyond causal contact. Reality may simply be larger than evidence can follow, and that is a terrifying kind of beauty. It means the universe is not merely hard to understand. It may be structured in such a way that completeness is impossible. Human beings struggled with this. We evolved to think that enough effort can solve any puzzle. If there is a mountain, climb it. If there is an ocean, cross it. If there is a hidden law, discover it. But the cosmos is not obliged to reward that instinct. It lets us ask the grandest questions, then places the answers outside the observable world. Where is the true edge of everything, if there is one at all? We do not know. In fact, the best modern picture suggests there may be no edge in the ordinary sense. The universe does not appear to have a center either. We are not standing at some privileged middle point from which everything expands away. Every observer, anywhere, would see the same grand retreat. That is one of the deepest wounds to human intuition. We are not central. We are not favored. We are simply local. And yet locality is all we have ever known. Earth feels large to the body. Continents feel large to civilizations. History feels large to a human life. But all of it unfolds inside a tiny island of visibility, surrounded not by empty darkness, but by inaccessible existence. There may be structures of staggering scale beyond what we can observe. Perhaps the cosmos continues far beyond our horizon. Perhaps it differs in ways we cannot imagine. Perhaps the universe we call everything is only the visible fragment of something vastly larger and stranger. Inflation, quantum fluctuations, hidden regions of space-time, worlds forever outside our light cone. Science can sketch possibilities, but observation eventually falls silent. That silence matters, because it means there's a limit not only to travel, but to intimacy with reality. There will always be a part of the universe that remains abstract to us. We can model it, infer it, respect it, but never truly see it. And still, for all these limits, the visible universe is not small. It contains enough stars to erase the ego, enough galaxies to make our deepest maps look childlike. The ancient background glow carries imprints from a time before planets existed, before chemistry had blossomed, before anything could look back and ask what was happening. In those faint temperature ripples, we read the seeds of galaxies, the quiet origins of structure, the first hints that from near uniform fire, complexity would one day emerge. That includes us. This is the strange comfort hidden inside cosmic incompleteness. The universe does not reveal all of itself, but it reveals enough for a small species on a minor world to reconstruct astonishing things. Enough to know that light has a history. Enough to know the early cosmos was once opaque. Enough to know that expansion is real, that horizons exist, that some parts of reality are already beyond our permanent reach. Enough to know with painful clarity that the universe is not built to satisfy human scale. And maybe that is why this subject reaches so deep into us. Because it is not really about astronomy alone. It is about the ancient human ache to see the whole picture, to step back far enough for existence to make sense, to believe that if we keep moving outward, the final truth will eventually come into view. But the universe answers with a paradox. The more precisely we understand it, the more clearly we see the boundary of understanding. Science does not merely enlarge the world. Sometimes it reveals the edges of what a world like ours can ever know. There is something almost tragic in that. Not a loud tragedy, a quiet one, the kind that settles slowly. We are made from atoms forged in stars, raised by a planet that learned to cradle life, gifted with minds capable of mathematics, memory, and wonder. And after all that, after billions of years of cosmic unfolding, we awaken in a universe we can never fully witness. We will never watch the whole cosmic story play out from above, never hold the total map in our hands, never receive light from every shore of reality. There will always be more beyond the horizon, not just practically hidden, but fundamentally withheld. And yet perhaps that is exactly what gives the universe its emotional force. A completely knowable cosmos might feel smaller, safer, finished. This one is not finished, not to us. It remains wild at the edges. It leaves room for humility, for imagination, for reverence. Because when you look up at the night sky, you are not just seeing stars. You are seeing survivors. Signals that made it across the expanding dark. Ancient messengers from a universe that allowed, for a brief moment, part of itself to be known. Behind them lies more than darkness, more than emptiness. There are realities that will never touch us, histories that will never become visible, distances so severe that even light surrenders. And still, we look. That may be the most human thing of all. to live inside a small circle of illumination, to know that the darkness beyond it is permanent, and to study the light anyway, to build instruments, to ask better questions, to listen for older echoes, to measure the faint afterglow of creation, and from that whisper, assemble a picture of everything we can. Not everything, that is, everything we can. Perhaps that distinction is the true lesson. The universe is not a possession. It is not an answer sheet waiting to be completed. It is an encounter with limits, a confrontation with scale, with time, with the indifference of physics. It does not promise closure. It offers perspective, and what a perspective it is. Somewhere in the black beyond our horizon, the cosmos continues without us. Galaxies rise and fade. Stars are born into skies no human mind will ever chart. Space stretches. Time deepens. The inaccessible becomes more inaccessible still. And here, on this small world, beneath one breathable atmosphere, a species of temporary beings keeps turning its face upward, trying to understand the visible fraction before the night grows even quieter. That does not make us insignificant in a meaningless way. It makes us precious in a rare one. Because in at least this corner of the universe, matter has learned to wonder about what it cannot touch. The horizon remains. The missing pages remain. The unseen universe remains. But so do curiosity, thought, and a fragile miracle of awareness. We can never truly see the entire universe, not because we failed, but because the cosmos is bigger than sight, older than transparency, and harsher than hope. And still, within that limit, we have found something extraordinary. Not mastery, but understanding enough to feel the weight of the mystery. If this journey through the visible edge of reality stayed with you, consider sharing it with someone else who still looks up and feels that ancient pull. And if you want more quiet voyages into the deepest questions of space, time, and existence, you can subscribe and return when the next one arrives.